Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you in MVC without using entity framework how to create multiple models into a single view page. And here we got our final output. Notice the multiple models, the country, state and city table is added into a single index view page without using entity framework from SQL Server database. City table, state table and country table. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in MVC to bind the multiple models into a single view, first we'll check the tables, the multiple tables. The table name is a country which contains CID and CNAME. This is the first table. And the second table, which is a state, contains 3 columns: state ID, SNAME is a state name, and CID. And the third table is a city table. It also contains 3 columns: city ID, city name, and SID. Now I want to create 3 models for each table, and I will call them into a single view page in MVC without using entity framework. Let's start the coding part. For this video tutorial, I am creating a new MVC application. Go to File, New, Project. From the web templates, I am selecting ASP.NET Web Application and the .NET Framework I am using 4.6.1. The application name is Multiple Models One View. Okay. I'm selecting MVC template, okay, and the project is created successfully. Let's close this window, open Solution Explorer. Now in this application I'm adding 3 models in this models folder. I click the models, add class. The class name is a country class, add. And here we got our country class. Now in this country class I am adding a public properties, public int CID get set, and the second property is a public string CNAME get set. And this model is for the country table which contains 2 columns, CID and CNAME. So I have created in the country class CID property and CNAME property. Let's create the state class. Right click the models, add class, state class, add public int SID get set, public string SNAME get set. The last property is public int CID get set. In the state table I have 3 columns: SID, SNAME and CID. I have created these properties in the state class. Now let's create the last model. Right click the models, add class, and the class name is a city class, add. Let's add the properties of the city class: public int city ID get set, public string city name get set. The last property is public int state ID get set. After adding multiple models into this models folder, next let's create a controller in this controllers folder. Right click the controllers, add controller. I'm selecting MVC for controller empty, add. The controller name is multiple view, multiple models, add. And here we got our controller also. First, in this controller I am adding the namespaces using the first namespace. I am adding the model namespace, so I have to add the application name dot models using system.data using system.data.sql client using system.configuration. After adding the SQL Server namespaces, the next one using system.dynamic namespace. Next step, in the Server Explorer, I am adding my database name. Right click the data connections, add connection. I am adding SQL Server name. After adding server name, I am selecting the database name, sample DB, test connection. It succeeded. Okay. And here we got the sample db.dbo database is added under data connections. We need the data source of the sample db. Right click the sample db.dbo, go to properties. In the properties, the connection string contains a data source. Copy that one. Open Solution Explorer, come to the bottom, web.config file, open that page. In the web.config file, there is a connection string. Add a new connection. Add name is equals to my connection string. I'm adding the data source which I have copied, provider name which is a system.data.sql client. After adding the SQL Server connection string in the web.config file, switch to the controller object public list. Now in this list class, I am adding the model class, country class, the method name get country. Return. Now in this get country method, I'm adding the table, the country table, string main con is equals to configuration manager dot connection strings. Between double quotes, I'm adding my connection, the connection string name. Paste here. Friends, here we don't need here semicolon. Dot connection string. SQL connection, SQL con is equals to new SQL connection. I'm adding main con string SQL query is equals to, here the SQL query I'm writing the select statement, select start from, we are getting the data from the dbo.country table. Let's copy that one, paste here. SQL command SQL com is equals to new SQL command, takes two parameters. The first one is a command text SQL query and the second one is a connection object SQL con. Let's open the connection string SQL con.open method as well as close the method. Now between this open and close, I'm adding SQL data adapter. SDA is equals to new SQL data adapter, I'm adding SQL command object data set ds is equals to new data set. Let's fill the data set. SDA.fill with I'm adding data set object. Now list class, list country class, list country is an object is equals to new list country class. Let's create the data rows. For each data row, dr in dataset object dot tables, I'm adding 0 dot rows properties. Now list country dot add method, new country class. Let's add the rows. I'm adding a property from this country class. CID is equals to DR. Between double quotes, I'm adding the column name CID, this one, comma. Notice that we got a small error here. Cannot implicitly convert type object to int. So let's typecast this one. Convert dot to int32. The second column name is CNAME property convert dot to string, which is a string data type. DR, between double quotes, the data column name is CNAME. Let's add the semicolon. Now in the return view, add this list country object. That's it. Call the country table in this getCountry method. Now in this index view page, let's create an object for the dynamic. dy is equals to new expander object dy dot create a variable country list is equals to, just call this country method, semicolon. In the return view, the dynamic object dy. That's it. We have done the coding part in the controller. Now before creating the methods for the state and the city models, let's create an index view page. Highlight the index, right click that one, add view. The view name is index only and the template empty without model. Add. And here we got our index view page also. Add using, I'm adding the models, multiple is a project name, multiple models underscore one view dot models. Center tag, copy that one, paste here, h1, how to create multiple models into single view. H2 without using entity framework. Horizontal line. Here I am adding H3 table 1, which is a country table. Horizontal line. Let's add the table dr, create a table headers, country ID, dh, country name. After adding the headers to the table, at for each I'm adding the country class, this class name cc object in model dot, I'm adding the country list. Copy that. tr td at cc dot cid, column name td at cc dot cname. That's it. Now before adding the state and the city classes also, the models also into this index view page, first we'll check the basic output, the country table is displaying or not. So before run this application, the main important, In the app underscore start route.config, open that one. Notice here the controller name is a home, which is a default one. Delete that one. Our controller name is multiple models. Copy that one, paste here. And the action result is the index page only, which is this one, index view page. Let's check the output, the country table is displaying or not. Google Chrome. And here we got the output. Notice the first model, the country table, is added into this index view page. Let's add the other two models, the state and city, also to this index view page. Switch to the coding part. Stop debugging. Switch to the controller. Let's create a new function, public list. I'm adding the state class, this one, this model class. Get states. Instead of writing the whole code again, I'm just copying this part, pasting here. I'm changing the statement, select start from DB or dot. The table name is a state. In this list class, I'm adding state class. Copy here, state class, list state, and the return view also list state. Let's add the properties from the list. Here is the state class only. So here this one is a list class. State ID is equals to convert dot to int 32 dr between double quotes the column names SID. Let's copy this one, comma, paste here. It's not C name, it's S name. The properties S name, S capital, comma, and the third property is a CID only. That's it. We have created the getStates method. Let's call this getStates method in the action result index view page. dy dot state list is equals to the method name getStates. Now switch to the index.cshtml. Let's copy this up to table. The table 2 is the state table. We have 3 columns in the state table, which is a state ID, state name, country ID. For each, let's add the state class. In models dot, we have to add this one, state list. Let's change this one, state class sc dot state id sc dot state name td at sc dot cid. That's it. We have called the second model also state table. Let's add the new function for city states. public list. I'm adding the city class. Get cities is a function name. Just for the time saving, I'm not returning the code again. dbo dot, the table name is a city. Copy this one, paste here. Here I'm adding city class. Copy this, paste here. City class. This one is a list city. Copy this one, paste here. Return it is list city. Now in the city class, I'm calling the properties city id is equals to, copy this one, paste here. The column name is the city id. City name, city name, state id, state id. Let's call this get cities function in the index view page. by dot, let's add the object for the city list is equals to, add the method name get cities. Switch to the index.cshtml. Copy this part again for the city table. Table 3, which is a city table. City id, city name, state id. I'm adding the class name city class. In models dot, we have to add the variable city list. cl city list, cl dot city id, cl dot city name, cl dot state id. That's it. We have done the complete coding part. But one most important, we have to add the dynamic class at model dynamic. That's it. This is very important. If you don't add this at model dynamic, you will get an error at runtime. Let's check the results. I'm rerunning the browser link. And here we got our final output. Notice the multiple models, the country, state and city table is added into a single index view page without using entity framework from SQL Server database. City table, state table and country table. That's it.